What it do, YouTube? It's your boy, my friend YC. We back with another. We not back with another reaction. I'm here to, I guess, tell a story. I guess I don't really know. You feel me? But listen, let's just get into it. All right. So look, boom. The other day I went to a wedding. You know what I'm saying? My boy got married. Woo woo. You know, so today I was chilling. You know, I got there pretty much exactly on time. Like he said, yo, get there at 11:50. I got there at 11:47. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to be on CPT. But, you know, I tried to get there early, but, you know, I counted late. Kind of got there later than what I wanted to. But whatever, it was cool. I was chilling. Everything was a vibe, you know, nice wedding, nice ceremony, funny ass speech. So boom, we eat. We go back to the hotel, right? We chilling. Everybody chopping it up. There's some wine involved. Right, and then we start playing games, right? We put a little shit like these right here, this little shit right here. Right, that was fun, right? And then we start playing this game called Mafia. Never played it before, but I played Among Us. It's pretty similar to Among Us. But basically, right, there's a room full of, for those who don't know, there's a room full of 14 to 12, I guess 10. It really could be any size, but there's a group of like 10 to 14 people in total, right? You have 2 people that are killers, you have 2 people that are medics or saviors, and you have 2 people that are police or sheriffs, right? So, right, everybody, right? So you write down civilian, 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 and then medic, medic, police, police, and then mafia, mafia. Mafia is the killer, right? So everybody shuffles names in a hat. Boom, you pick whatever you get. Okay, that's what you are, right? So boom, right? We playing. Okay, so boom, we turn out the lights, right? Then the narrator, who's the most important part of the game, everybody close their eyes. Now the mafia members open their eyes, and the 2 mafia members have to agree on who they're gonna kill. Right, so I was a civilian for this game, so my eyes are closed this whole time, right? Okay, I got it. Boom. Then will the medic open their eyes? Now pick who they want to save. Now they don't know who's dead, but they have to try to figure out who they think might have got killed and pick that person to save. And then the sheriff picks who they think is the killer is, and then the narrator has to tell them yes or no. Now the interesting part about this is, just because the police know who it is, that doesn't mean that the next round they can just outright, I mean, I guess you could, but it doesn't mean that you automatically get to say, when we have discussion, oh, the killer is so-and-so, because if they don't, I don't remember where I was, but is my mic on? But yeah, I guess you could say, yo, I'm the police, I know such and such, but I guess if you don't get the killer out that round, I guess you can get killed next round. So the way we was playing, nobody was saying what they were. Like, even if, I don't know if anybody guessed the right killer or not, but you know how we played it, that's how the situation went about, right? And so basically the way that group of people perceive me is a more reserved, nonchalant, laid back, very cool, very calm, cool and collected type of person, right? For the most part, that's pretty much what I am, you know. But you know, I started drinking a little bit, you know, I got a little whatever, I got a little beside myself, you know. I do have my passionate moments here and there, but I've let very few people see that. But I was so engaged with this game because I was drunk and I was just excited to play a new game. You know, I was very talkative, right? And so I was very eager. I was dominating the conversation. I was like, all right, so boom, 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 like this, that, and the third, yada, yada. Ooh, I'm dominating the conversation. And, you know, I'm having fun. You know, I'm not really thinking much of anything, you know. And I didn't really start putting the pieces together until later, right? But, you know, the game goes on, right? I get accused, right? People say, yo, mostly the females, it's like, yo, like, you acting, you talking too much, like, you gotta get packed up for sure, like, for free, you gotta get packed up. You talking too much, like, I just think you the killer. And I was like, damn, like, they not even listening to what I'm saying. Like, one of the girls there, right, her name was Washington, we had a cool, like, oh, you're my cousin moment, right? But regardless, right, she kept saying that I accused her, or she kept saying that I accused her, when I never accused her. What happened was she accused me, and I defended myself in a very aggressive way. And so the way she felt about it, she felt that I was accusing her. But, you know, again, in the moment, I'm not really thinking anything. So the game's going on, I'm still talking a lot, and then eventually I get packed up because niggas think I'm the killer. I wasn't the killer. Then after the game, you know, it was all cool. You know, it was like, oh, you know, good game. And I was like, you know, damn, like, why did niggas pack me up? Because I was saying nothing but facts. All the dudes around me, right? This is when I started to piece everything together after the game. All the dudes around me was like, nah, Mike making sense. Y'all gotta hear Mike out. Y'all gotta hear Mike out, right? And so that's kind of, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because it's allowing me to not feel crazy for thinking the things that I'm thinking, but it's also not allowing me to, it's also in that moment or temporarily prohibiting me from understanding the full lesson that's happening, because I got a few dudes that's agreeing with me. I'm thinking, oh, I'm right, you know, shorty's is just wilding, right? And so even after the game, it was a close game. The Mafia almost won. They made like one wrong move, in my opinion, you know, but that's neither here nor there. Right, so after the game, the narrator, who, you know, is probably the best player, the most experienced player, you know, he made it super fun with how people died, and, you know, how he, you know, he held the room down. Obviously, I was doing most of the talking while I was alive, but there was a lot of game after I died, and even while I was still playing, you know, a lot of other people were talking. There was good banter, and I was like, nah, let her cook. Let us have our little debacle. It was really a cool vibe. It was funny, right? There was so many personalities going on. And, you know, people were a little intoxicated, which makes things more fun, usually, always, right? And so after the game ended, we're just talking about, you know, how, you know, just talking about the game. Like, you know, the more you play, the better people will get, and, you know, things like that, you know. And I was just thinking, like, damn, like, because what's the game called? In Among Us, I usually lose a lot. And I don't really be understanding why, because all of my arguments make sense. Like, they make logical sense, right? And so after the game, right, I don't want to give too many details away, because I don't want, right, like, I don't want there to be a trail, but somebody was talking about a situation where they felt that somebody was doing something unethical, right? And I said, oh, okay. And she was like, yo, you're a guy, like, let's get a guy's perspective. Like, why would a guy, I guess I'll say the situation, I'll just leave the name anonymous, right? So why would this guy cheat? Like, why would he go into the relationship knowing he gonna cheat? And I was like, I mean, probably because it feels better to do that. Like, you get more of a thrill from it when you do it, you know, when you're just hooking up with somebody and there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's I guess it's cool. But for some people, that thrill of doing something that you're not supposed to do gets them off. Like, some people just have a thrill of stealing. Like, it's not necessarily right. They don't even want the stuff necessarily. It's just like this thrill of doing something you're not supposed to do. Or like, if you're doing it, and I gave it an analogy, I was like, have you ever been with somebody in a situation where you weren't supposed to be doing it, or it was supposed to be secretive? Like, didn't you get more of a rush from that? And she kind of looked at me. She was just like, you know, because that's all logical points, right? She asked me a question, and I took it logically when she asked it emotionally, if that makes sense. So she basically asked me, like, why would somebody do that? And I literally thought about why somebody would do that. I literally thought about the actual answer, the logical, logistical thought process of why somebody would do that. And she was asking me, like, why would somebody do that to somebody? Like, she was asking more of an emotional lens. So she was just like, yo, like, nah, I'm not jacking that. And we had built up somewhat of a rapport, so she was giving me somewhat the benefit of the doubt, but she was just like, I could tell she wasn't jacking me in that moment. She wasn't jacking me, right? So then she brought it over to somebody else. Like, nah, I need a sec, because like, you speaking too, you using too much facts right now. I'm not really interested in the facts. Never have been, never will be. Was never interested in the facts and the logic. So she brought it over to her homegirl, of course. It's cool, it's whatever. She brought it over to her homegirl, which is cool, right? So, right, but I didn't follow her. She just brought it over there. But I'm still in earshot of what's going on. And she was like, nah. And she explained, I'm hearing her explain everything. Like, I'm not particularly listening, but I'm hearing it because I'm in earshot. Plus, I'm already like somewhat invested because I've already entered the conversation initially. So she says, nah. So basically what Michael's trying to say is he trying to condone, whoa. So I immediately had to defend myself. And mind you, we just got finished playing Mafia. I'm getting accused all game. Now the game's over. Now I'm still getting accused. I'm like, nah, I gotta defend myself. For sure, I gotta defend myself. So basically, she explained the situation again and saying like, yeah, so boom, boom, like, why would he do this? And she was like, the friend was like, okay, so what did Mike say that's throwing you off? I don't understand. Like, what did he say? And he was saying, oh, he was condoning it because he was saying that it probably feel better. I was like, whoa, I never condoned that. I never said I would do it. I never condoned it. I never said it was right. I never said it was ethical. I never said anybody should ever do that. You asked, why would somebody do that? I'm giving you the answer. What is the incentive? If somebody wants to smoke cigarettes, a pack of Newports every day, and you ask me, why would somebody do that? And I say, because it gets them a high. Yeah, it causes cancer. Yeah, it has all types of side effects on why you shouldn't do it. But if you're asking me why would somebody do it, that's the answer. Even if the answer isn't something that you would do. Why people addict to alcohol? Because it makes them feel good. Alcohol makes me feel good too when I drink it, but I would never overly indulge in alcohol. But I could understand it and at least empathize where somebody is at mentally, right? And so she explained the situation. We both say our sides, and the friend is like, she taking the friend's side. So she like, nah, what you saying though? And like, I'm not feeling that. She's like, nah, but that's not justifying. And then she gonna point at somebody else, another somebody, and be like, so and so is in a relationship. Tell him. Like, she was like, tell him so and so. And then, you know, man standing there, he listening, right? He calm, cool, collected. He like these. He chilling. He like, nah. He's saying like, Mike is not saying that he condoning it. He just telling you the thought process. And so it kind of got like, it wasn't a situation where anybody fully agreed, but it was a situation of mutual respect. And it was more like, I guess we kind of agreed to kind of understand where each other is coming from, but I still disagree with what you're saying. I don't appreciate it, right? And then it made me think like, yo, like what happened there? Like, it felt like, why am I always in a situation on defense? Right? And it was a similar situation where in the game and in real life, or like in a real life, I guess, scenario, where I feel like the guys understood me, but the girls weren't really feeling me. So I'm like, okay, really thinking about it, like I was driving back home, you know, and it was really intense, you know. I was driving back home just thinking about the game, and it was just like, yeah, so what happened? Like, why did I lose? And I kind of came to the conclusion that the way I was playing the game was just being my fully authentic self, which is good for real life, you know, being your authentic self. You win some, you lose some. But then I was like, in terms of the game, like, it doesn't matter if everything you say makes 100% sense. It never has. In the history of human civilization, in the history of language, it's never really mattered all the way what you say, or like what, like, it always matters about how you make people feel. Like, there's a quote that says, people don't care what you say or what you did, but people always care about how you made them feel. And so I understood at that point with the, you know, in the game, the girl accusing me of accusing her when I never did, and, you know, people accusing me of being the killer in the game, and people accusing me of or questioning my ethics because of the stance that I took and the answer that I gave. And why would a man cheat or go into a relationship knowing he's gonna cheat? And it all came back to the same thing. It's just like, you're saying all the right things logically, right? So if you were talking to yourself, or people like-minded like you, like another guy, or most guys who think more logically, yeah, everything you're saying is gonna make perfect sense. Your diction and the way that you can paint a picture with words is absolutely amazing at times. It can be. But I think that you're missing the element of emotion. I think that, and I got into this whole thing, and like, men and women think differently. Like, a man is gonna, like, even in my relationships, and like, it was just always like, I would always say something and then using logic, right? And then the girl that I was with would be like, so you know everything, huh? Like that, literally, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like a situation where you can't win with that train of logic. You can't win that way. You have to switch up the whole game plan, right? It's just like, I remember I saw Andrew Tate say one time, if you make $100,000 and you saved every single penny for 100 years without ever spending it ever, then you might be able to buy one of my cars. If that doesn't show you that you have to change up the game, then I don't know what will, right? And so you could be using the greatest logic in the world, right? Depending on what your goal is, right? If you want to gain commandment of the room, that may not necessarily be your best strategy. Now, if you just want to move authentically, like in real life, I'm going to continue to be myself, right? But I think it's important in life to understand who you're working with. Like in that game, it's one of the most important things in that game is to understand the people in that game and who they are and how they relate to you, and just understanding who they are. And so if I'd have came in with more of a situation where I would have conveyed more to the girls' emotions and made them feel that I was on their side and made them feel comfortable with me and made them feel a certain way, regardless of whether or not the things that I was saying was true, I think I probably would have had more success. And it just made me think, like, I guess that just really was the lesson. Like, just depending on what you want to accomplish, you have to adjust. You have to change things up a little bit, you know? Because it's very frustrating. Like, it's like if you're running a race, if you're racing somebody, let's say I call my brother right now, first one to California wins. It doesn't matter how fast I run. It literally doesn't matter how fast I run. I could run as fast as I can. I can run as fast as humanly possible for as long as humanly possible. I could be the most purely genetically perfect modified human in the history of humanity out of all the trillions of people on earth that ever existed. And my brother could be the fattest, biggest, most unathletic person in the history of the world. If he knows moderately how to operate a vehicle, he's gonna beat me there, because it's not a foot race. It's not something that you can win on feet. Not everything that you do, like not everything that I do, or not every situation that I'm in can be conveyed or understood, or not every goal that I want to achieve when it pertains to people can be acquired through logic. Like sometimes I have to understand who I'm playing with. Like I have to understand. It's like, I think that's the thing with basketball too that I don't really understand. Like I think when I play with the people that I know, I do well. I put up buckets. I understand like the ethics of the game and boxing out and like the science and like, you know, whatever, like footwork and things like that. But I never get the most out of my teammates. And I think that it's because I don't understand how to work with people the best way. I understand like, yo, you're wide open, take the shot. Instead of saying that, like that's a very logical answer. And instead of saying that, empower them to take the shot. Convey to their emotions, right? So I just think that was a big lesson for me, because it was just like that's something that I had always been struggling with. Because it's just like, bro, like, am I wilding? Like that makes perfect sense, you know. And it's not about being right, like, because if I only cared about being right to me, like to me what's right, well, honestly I can't even say that, because I think that both are needed. I think majority of men who think logically, that train of thought is needed, and then the women who think emotionally, I think that train of thought is needed, and I think it blends well together, right? Let's say we're going in on an investment, and you know it's a man and wife, right? Let's just say we're going in on an investment, and the man says, or let's say the numbers are perfect, but you know the wife just doesn't like the home. It's like, hey, I'm not feeling it. I'm like, you know what, babe? Listen, I understand you don't like the home, but it's not about liking the home. This is a money move. This is a money move. You get what I'm saying? And you know what? Depending on the situation, okay, cool, right? But let's say we're renting out our apartment, right? And this guy, he comes in, right? His credit score is amazing. His record is clean. You know, he has everything right on paper. He says he says all the right things. And as you're interviewing him, you're seeing your wife on the left side of you, and she's more quiet than usual. She's not her perky, you know, self, you know, sense that there's something wrong, right? So you wrap it up with dude, you know, it sounds good, he looks great on paper, right? You get back to the crib, yo babe, like I see something was off with you, like what's up? And she just looks at you and she goes, babe, like nah. It's like, what you mean, what's up? Like talk to me. It's like, listen babe, I understand he's great on paper, I get all that, but there's something deep within me. Like I look into his eyes and everything looks great on paper, but I look in his eyes, I feel his aura, his energy, and something deep within me tells me that we should not allow this man into our home or anywhere near us. That's just my intuition speaking to me right now, right? And because she's not paying attention to the logic, she may be able to see something in a situation that you may not be able to see, and vice versa. So I think both are very important and very necessary at different points of time. But back to the point, if I just wanted to be right and be like, oh nah, she's wild, and like everything I said makes sense on paper, I think I would be missing an opportunity to get what I want out of life. Like if I want the people around me to love working with me, or to love helping me, or to empower people around me to be the best versions of themselves, it's not beneficial for me to be like, oh yeah, but I'm right. Nobody cares if you're right. It doesn't matter if you're right. And how can you be right when you're not getting the right results? Is it about being right, or is it about getting the results you want? And so understanding that there's a totally different element to people, I guess I understood that, but understanding that you have to push different buttons in different situations if you want different outcomes, right? Because I play ball with people sometimes, and like I see that, you know, I see the way that people play for other people, right? And so I see what they're capable of, and I see that, you know, I see that when they play against me, they're giving me everything that they got. They're doing their best dribble moves, they're making the most shots that they've ever made, they're hustling the most. But when they play with me, they don't really give me that same energy. And we're all close off the court. Like nobody's like, there's no animosity there, there's none of that. Like we're all cool off the court, it's all love, it's all good vibes, it's all good energy. But I think that there's a difference in the way that I interact with them. It's just like, I guess I don't emotionally empower them, or there's an element, right? And it's still all fresh to me at the end of the day, but there's an element when it comes to dealing with people, depending on the outcome that I want, that I've just been missing. And I think I'm starting to learn and understand that. And so I hope that was entertaining. YouTube may never see this, it may not. I felt like this was a good time for me to vent. I feel like it was pretty good. So let me know what you guys think. Definitely like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.